Good morning, good morning. My name is Maggie Rose Cunningham. It is Magic in Mind, and today we are going to be talking about unlocking your mystic self. So I wanted to start by saying, why is it important? Why is it important that we are able to unlock the mystic self in the first place? And the reason for that is because if you sense, if maybe your healer senses or your seer senses that there's something wrong, in life, there's something wrong in the world, whatever that is, without the ability to imagine and connect really strongly to a different possible future, we can't make change. We essentially get stuck in the victim mode, that things are happening, they might be happening to us, and we might we might be suffering, we might be really aware that there are problems, but without the mystic self, we can't imagine anything different, and we can't therefore activate our magician or our sage if we want to go and inspire other people and talk to other people about it. We can't activate them, so we can't connect with a possible different future. So that's why the sage is important to us. And good morning, Suki. Good morning, Suzanne. I can see that people are joining. Do say hello in the chat box as you come in. And let me know whether this is resonating with you, whether this makes sense. This idea that the mystic in particular of all parts of the magical self connects with the future. We've been working with the seer recently. So if you think about the different parts of the magical self, you can see the sage as connecting very strongly with the past, the experiences of the past and what was. The seer is very much in the present. You might experience the seer who also accesses hidden wisdom, the unseen, but it's hidden wisdom within. You might imagine that as being like the self is a deep pool that is resonating with what is happening around them all of the time. It's that experience of oneness. So the external world is vibrating, and the seer is picking up on all of those vibrations, and the seer reads what is happening inside in the interior. So the seer is incredibly important for that sense of I know, or I feel, or I choose, whereas the mystic says these are some other things that the seer can't feel because they're not present, they're not there, however it is that the mystic accesses them, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. And they draw that in, so they're much more in the range of I imagine, or I believe, or I connect, and I connect to something different. The seer might then say, the mystic has offered me this range of opportunities, and now I choose which one is the right one for me. But it's the mystic that does that work of journeying out. The way that you might also see this in the northern tradition is the idea, which we get in other traditions as well, and we get it with the idea of hedge sitting, of witches who go over the hedge into the wilderness or into the wild. Brené Brown talks about this a lot in her work on vulnerability. Well, it's very present. I'm just using a different language. In the northern tradition, we talk about Inengard and Utengard. So Inengard is the realm of the known, and Utengard is the realm of the unknown and the wild. And this is the realm of the mystic. So the mystic starts in Inengard, moves out into Utengard, and then comes back into Inengard with the knowledge that they have received, with the new imaginings, with the possibilities. I can see that people in the chat saying, Suzanne saying, my mystic's very awake this morning, and Suki saying, my mystic is wanting to pack a case and travel. Yeah, and that's important to recognise that urge of the mystic isn't just, I want to, we're going to be talking about journeying and shamanic practice, and we're going to be doing a lot of that during the quest that I'm leading in the Hearth Space this week on visioning with the runes, which is very much the practice of the mystic. But the mystic also does, want to go out into the world and explore physically. Wants to travel, wants to try new things, wants to have new experiences as well. These are all ways in which we can nurture our mystic. I can see some other people saying hello. Maggie, lovely, your mystic is restless. We've got lots of restless mystics in the chat today. And Suzanne is saying, I love hedge riding and often out. Yes, indeed. So any time where I went out with my sons yesterday, and we went for a walk in the woodlands with all of the foxgloves. It was just this forest of foxgloves. I've never seen anything like it. And they're so much smaller than me that we were in the ferns and I couldn't see them. They were loving it. They were sort of scampering off like bunny rabbits. And I was like, I don't know where they are. So let's have a little bit of a dive then into, I'm going to be talking to you about 4 aspects of the mystic that it's useful for us to recognize their different functions and how it is that we might move through them. So as I'm going through them, you might just do let me know in the chat which ones do you recognize, which of the challenges that they experience do you recognize, which of the impulses that they offer do you recognize. So the first one for me is the dreamer. No, this is, start us off, this is like the child self, the child self who loves playing with the fairies in the garden and creates those really imaginative games, and they invite their friends in and they've got like huge realms and landscapes, and they might really enjoy writing as well, writing stories and offering them out into the world. So they have their own world that they're exploring. When we're children, we can't always tell the difference between what's happening inside and what's happening outside. It's only later that we might be told, no, well, that's not real. That's not real. And this is, which is the physical exterior world, whereas your interior world and your connection to the unseen world, they're both not real, is what can happen to mystics, which is not very nice for them. And this is why every little mystic child, even though mystics are often very, very comfortable being alone and can often need some time alone because they're actually connecting with something else, so they're not really alone, but they're alone in terms of like human company. But they need like a best friend who wants to play the game, or they need like mum or dad or granny or whoever it is to listen to the stories that they are telling and saying, wow, that's amazing, tell me more, to be somebody who brings real like deep acceptance and curiosity and that sense of belonging, which helps the little baby mystic to understand how, okay, Inengard, here I am in Inengard, the known, then I go out into the unknown, and then as my job as a mystic is to bring that back into the world. Remember, as I was saying at the beginning, that if there are things that are wrong with the world, it is the mystics who can connect to the possibilities of something that is better. And I don't know about you, but I reckon there's a few things wrong in the world that need fixing, and so we absolutely need our mystics now. We need to have that really strong connection, and it needs to be a strong connection. It doesn't need to be like, I had a little bit of an imagining and I'm not really sure about it. Mystics have that burning connection to a better possibility, to a better future, and that they need to be able to take that journey in and out all the time. So it's very easy for mystics to get shut down very early on in our society at the moment because they're told, you're daydreaming, you're wasting time, or you should be doing something serious with your life. All of those things aren't real. All of that stuff can happen. Or they can share something that they've seen and no, that's not real, or that's silly. They can often get told, that's silly. And then they shut the dreamer down, or they keep the dreamer very enclosed. It's one of the reasons why I created the Hearth Space, was to allow all of the different parts of the magical self a place where freedom of expression is absolutely encouraged, and where we can be there and support each other and say, yes, I see you. Mystics know they need that sense that it's safe to be seen. Next part of the magical self is what I call the initiated. And for me, there are two reasons why mystics take the path of the initiated. The first is if their dreamer has been shut down, they may well recognize that because their mystic's still in there saying, whoa, this is not what I expected in life, and I can see a future that's got shut down for me and I want it. And so they say, okay, I am going to go and I'm going to find a guide. I'm going to find somebody who can take me to those gateways that I can't, for whatever reason, I can't access anymore. Maybe I'm afraid of them. Maybe I actually can't see them anymore. Maybe I've shut some of them down. Maybe I might do wonderful journaling or poetry like in the privacy of my own room, and then I don't take that out anymore. And so I need to work with somebody, with another human being who's going to help me to open those doors again, to go out into Utengard, out into the wild and out into the places of power, and then to come back safely. So this can be, for mystics, this can be a self-healing journey. We say, okay, I had a strong mystic and it's still there, but it needs somebody else to provide that safe space and to be there and to welcome me home, to hold me during that. Now, the other reason that they might choose the path of the initiated is if they can feel that there is a territory opening up to them, possibility, because they're connected to possibility, that involves some level of like risk, maybe of danger, of the unknown that feels a little bit beyond their current capacity. So it might be that it's often the learning of a tool or the learning of a new way of accessing the mystic's vision. So for some people that might be about taking like the micro mushrooms, I think that they're called, or becoming an oracular channel, or learning how to journey with the drum. You know, lots of different ways in which we can think about. I would like somebody to help me, either because I'm unfamiliar with this tool and I don't know how to work it, or it might feel a little bit like, I need some supervision to get myself on the road. And I know that once I do that, I'm going to be able to access these vaster territories of the wilderness, and I'm going to be able to bring back more power to myself. So it's often about learning a particular craft of the mystic where we might come. So Suzanne, you're saying Reiki helped me with all of that. Yeah, absolutely. So that's like the self-healing journey that we can have with Reiki, but also that sense of, now I have a set of tools that my mystic can use to travel further, to go out, to see more, to experience more, and to bring back more power for myself and for others into the world. So that's our initiated path with a human guide who may well be allowing us to access other energies, but there's a person there. My third path is for people who, and this I think happens in the northern tradition a lot at the moment because there just are not that many guides out there at the moment, and that is changing, is we go, there's no one to teach me how to get where I need to go. And what tends to happen with that is that you may well have had a number of human guides who have sort of helped you to almost like go round the edges of the territory that you want to explore. I can't get into it, but I can go over here and I can go over there and I can experience this wilderness, which is a bit like mine. It's not the same, but it's a bit like mine. And I'll learn everything that I can so that when I go, I'll have that safety there. And I think of this as being the spirit-led path, because there is something that's there in saying there's a territory for you to follow. And so for me, this is when we work with deity and we work with spirit guides and we work directly with them. And we may well still have human supporters who aren't experts in our field, but who we can go back and we can check in with them. We can say, okay, this is what happened for me there, or this is what happened for me here. This is one of the reasons why I created the mastery community after Awaken to the Runes. Created the mastery communities to support people who are, we've got the common foundations of the runes, but we want to go further and we want to experience the edges. And it's why I've designed Yggdrasil's Path, my shamanic program, the way that I have, to support people in finding their way into unknown territories and understanding the rules that will keep them safe and will allow them to go into terrains that I certainly don't know all of them. It's the vast landscapes where power and wisdom are housed that we're only just rediscovering now. Your Munaki writes did that for you, Suzanne. So yes, absolutely, you can see that, and you can look at what are the practices. If you think about this, we've looked at the dreamer. You might think about this in terms of what are the practices, or who are the guides, and what are the practices that have supported me, or who might the deities or spirit guides who have supported me in taking those journeys into the unknown, where I knew that I needed to go. And this might be a little bit of the partnership between the seer and the mystic. The seer's like, you need to go over there, and the mystic's like, okay. Do I have all the equipment I need, is often what we're looking at there. And then the fourth piece that I wanted to introduce you to is one who a lot of people in this category may not even recognize themselves as having an active mystic. And this is what I think of as the hero's path. And the hero's path is led by purpose. And we talk quite a lot in modern society, and there's lots of literature out there about finding purpose. But I want to suggest to you at this moment that what happens if you think about purpose itself as being a form of spirit guide, and that sometimes we have one purpose and then the purpose might shift and it might change, and what we're doing is we're discovering that purpose. And so the hero can be connected so strongly to purpose, bearing in mind that purpose is still the realm of the mystic, because purpose is about connecting to a possible future that has not yet happened. And so anyone who is purpose-led, anyone who's saying, I'm going to take the hero's journey into the unknown, I'm going to be a leader, I'm going to be a trailblazer, I'm going to make myself seen, I'm going to make myself visible, in order to bring about that future, is on the path of the mystic. So an example here for me would be, I often give Greta Thunberg as an example of a healer, of somebody who feels like instinctively and powerfully and intensely something that is very, very wrong with the world. And healers will do that. They will know. They're so sensitive to any systems that have gone wrong, to things that have gone wrong. But in order for them to then take that next step, particularly if they're saying, I think that there could be a better future, or I think that the way in which I've advocated in the past or other people have advocated for this isn't working, and so therefore I need to take a different method of advocacy, a different method of championing my cause. I think that's the path of the mystic. So I think that people like Greta Thunberg and anybody who is approaching a problem that they can see out there in the world from a very, very different way has at some point had a mystic activation that's made them go, oh, if I did this, that would work. And then they follow that because they're guided so strongly, not just by a sense of what is wrong, but by a sense of what could be right and what the world could be like. And in the Northern tradition, I like to think about this as being, you could think about purpose as being like weird or fate. It could be your weird saying to you, this is what I need to do, this is where I need to go, this is how this needs to operate. I like to think about it as being like the Nornir, who are providing that fate for us, but also like the Valkyrie, who are coming, like looking down and saying, who in the world right now, we know that there's a challenge, we know that there's a problem, we know that the gateways between the worlds need to open wider, we need a reconnection to our planet, we humans need more of a connection to each other. We need us to be thinking differently about the way in which we work for our environment, or we need to be finding solutions to war. So many different challenges that are out there in the world, and the Valkyrie are there, and they're saying, okay, who can help? Who can help? And then they're coming down in whatever way works for us. Remember, we've been talking a lot about how do we receive. We looked at that a lot in the Rune Readers Challenge. How do we receive? What language do we speak? And they come and they whisper us to us in whatever language might come through. So purpose, if you think about purpose, some of us will have a like purpose written on a page in front of us over the desk that says, this is what I'm here for, and it can be a brilliant guide, and it can mean that we can act very quickly because we've brought that purpose into the conscious mind and we've embraced it and we know it very well. What I tend to find is I have moments where I'm really clear on purpose, and I'm going whoosh. And then it's a little bit like, oh, well, you've met that layer of your purpose. So now your purpose is going to evolve because you have evolved. And then you go, oh, I'm lost again. Oh, what's going on here? And the mystic has to take another journey out into the wild to recover that sense of purpose. And I think that's an important thing to recognise with purpose, is that it does shift and change over time. It's quite rare for a human being to say, I know exactly what my purpose is, and then it's the same throughout my whole life. And I might pursue it in different ways, but the purpose remains the same. Often it does change. So we can sometimes have a real sense of a burning sense inside of, I know I'm here for something. And that is the first call of purpose. And often that can be frustrating. And let me know in the chat if you've ever experienced that sense of, I know that I'm here to do something, but I can't quite put my finger on it, or I can't explain it properly, and I feel as if I'm sort of walking blind. And I think as long as we keep that pursuit, you're taking your journey through the wilderness out into Utengard in search of that purpose. And it's almost like when you find the purpose, you're pretty much already at least halfway to fulfilling the purpose, So, and then it starts to evolve again. Siki was saying, think I'm an initiated mystic shifting often to the dreamer. Oh, we like that. Yeah. So there's and I think it's important to recognise with the dreamer and to recognise with all of these that this isn't a hierarchy. This isn't, we start as the dreamer and then we become initiated and then we become spirit-led and then we connect to purpose. This is a cycle that's happening all of the time. And on any of the levels, if you're on you're on your hero's journey, or you're following your spirit-led path, or you're working with a particular teacher at a particular time, most mystics will need to nurture their dreamer self to have that space of play, purpose can sometimes get hard and heavy, and when that happens, our mystic shuts down. And goes, oh, this isn't what I was here for. Now there is a joy. The mystic is fueled by joy and love and possibility and faith and imagination and all of those things. And when we feel constrained, we can't connect anymore. We get stuck, we get trapped, and we can't walk through the gateway into the next evolution. So going back into that dreamer self and exploring for the fun of it, for the love of it, like you say, Suzanne, a sacred play, that sense of sacred play. So the realm of the dreamer is the realm of sacred play, you know. For those of you who are thinking about what about sacred play, it's one of the it's one of my business values. It's absolutely essential. It's one of the things I think is so important in terms of our evolution of our magical selves, and being given that space for all of those different child parts of the magical self to have space to grow is incredibly important. So a lot of what we do in the half space is sacred play. And Maggie's saying, I had this for years before the Northern tradition came to me, especially. Yeah, that sense of here for something, because it keeps you going, doesn't it? You might be like, is this it? No, but it's a bit closer. Is this it? No, but I think it's a bit closer still. You know, and you keep going, and that's your mystic. You know, doing that. And the mystic needs that sense of going back into the dreamer to help. And Alexis is saying, yeah, I felt that sense of purpose and not knowing what it is. And I think that that's something that we can be really helpful for each other, you know, in the spaces, you know, in the half space, or if you're in one of my the mastery program or the Amplify Your Magic program especially, we can say, you know, I'm in the exploration phase. I'm in the phase a little bit like the moment with initiation. You might think about it as the moment where the blindfold is on and you don't know where you're going, but you need that because otherwise you're not going into the unknown. You know, you're staying in the known. You know? So if you're feeling that sense of frustration, it's a real sign I'm on the right path. You know, I'm on the right path because I'm not staying in my comfort zone, in my safe space, in the present moment. I'm reaching for the future. And Maggie's saying, like, I felt I was here to do something, but no idea how or what. Absolutely. It's one of the reasons that I trained as a coach and as a trainer, was because I realised that I needed to be what I want to be in the world, and to support people like you in really claiming their magic and being in their power, to have the tools to help people to access that vision and to find purpose and to pursue it. You know, not in a I will find my purpose way, but in a hello purpose. You know, I'm here, I'm inviting you in, I'm walking through the woodlands, and you know, I'm just going to trust that you're going to present yourself when the time is right, and I'm going to make myself the best possible vehicle for you to come along and have a chat with me through my sacred play. Oh, Suzanne is saying, I'd never realised that my mystic brought me to you and the runes. I'm going to cry. Yeah. Everyone who is in this space at some point has followed their mystic, I believe. Certainly if you go, actually, I found something that's special, that's important to me here, then you're following your mystic. And you can think about that with books you decide to pick up off the shelf, and people that you decide to go and have a chat to in a cafe. You know, that spirit of adventure and a little bit of risk and a little bit of don't cry, try not to cry, is so important for the mystic, and a little bit for the seer as well. Remembering that if the mystic is entirely like unleashed with no other balancing parts of the magical self, then we can go down to too many avenues at the same time. We can go, you know, I might try this, or I might try this, or I might try this, or I might try this, because the mystic says this might be possible, that might be possible, and there's guides out there for me. But without the seer to say, oh, that's my one. You know, the seer is so important for that sense of, you know, I was talking about at the very beginning, I said that the seer is in the present. So the mystic will go out into Utengard and say, I saw that, it was amazing and it was brilliant. I saw this huge vision of possibilities, like 7 generations into the future. This was happening and that was happening and it was wonderful. You know? And they bring that back into the interior, inside. And then the seer sits down with them and says, I think that's our bit. Or I think this is the next first step. So these partnerships of the magical self are very important. So there is some part of your magical self that is the mystic that has to take a part of the journey alone. It is part and parcel of being the mystic. Initiation is not somebody else holding your hand every step of the way and telling you what to do every step of the way. It's them saying, this is the path, here's the gateway, you're ready, go. It's sort of that, and you have to do part of that alone. But the mystic also must make the return journey. They've got to take the return journey home, and that's because otherwise the purpose for which they were born, whether you think that was set at the beginning or whether you think they had a sort of an idea and then the Valkyrie is swooping down and saying, that person over there, they through this act and that act and doing this and they're doing that, they've made themselves ready and now a new purpose is ready to be born for them. If they just hold that purpose and they go, oh, I've seen it, it's there, I'm in the dreaming self and I don't do anything with it, then they haven't fulfilled their magic. They haven't brought their magic into the world. They've touched it for themselves, but they haven't brought it into the world. So the mystic needs to take action in Inangard in order to birth the dream or the vision or the possibility that they have connected with into the world. And this might be as simple as sharing what they have seen. And remember we were talking about the dreamer and we were talking about all of the reasons why the mystic might find that difficult. These are the things that we need to overcome through finding places of sacred play and collaboration and safe spaces for our voice. It's one of the reasons why in Suna's Star Wheel and on Amplify we do wild voice work, because the wild voice is one of the ways in which the mystic journeys out and comes back and then works with the expressive self of the sage to offer that voice into the world. We need to find places where our voices can be given, our true and our genuine mystic voices can be received by others, so that we start to learn that safety. So the action might simply be sharing and that might be enough. Or it might be that I need to go and do something myself. I'm going to activate my magician self and go out. I've seen this vision of, like a new house or a community garden or whatever it is that I've seen, or a holiday that I need to go on because I'm going to meet somebody there and I don't even know what's going to happen. This is going to activate a whole new thing of my life. Whatever it is, I'm now going to go and take that action. This is so incredibly important for our mystics, is to say, what are the little mini risks that I now need to take to bring that vision into reality. And it's important to recognise that these don't always have to be huge, enormous, life-changing steps. One day I'll tell you the story of how when I left my job, my big sensible job for the second time round, I asked Princess Anne for a vision. She gave it to me. And that was a big life-changing vision, I'm not going to lie. And she changed my life. But sometimes it is just it's a small step. It's saying, as one of my lovely business mentors, Kate Wolf, often talks about how she saw that she needed to be by the sea. And she was like, well, I don't live anywhere near the sea. How am I going to make that happen? And she started by saying, well, I'm going to have pictures of the sea. I'm going to listen to tapes of the sea. And sure enough, she has, beautiful place by the sea now. She works by the sea. I've done days with her where we've gone out to the beach and things. So it's those little steps of magic as well as a practical magic, let's call it. Practical magic and energetic magic that we then use. That also says to the mystic, says to our mystic, I trust you. I don't know where this is taking us and I don't know how this is going to be possible for it to happen, but I'm going to take some actions towards it. And this is recognizing that collaboration happens within as well as without. So for the mystic, collaboration is an absolutely vital component of a healthy, well-expressed part of this magical self. And it's collaboration with those other parts of your magical self, so the sage to give voice and the seer to help make the choices and the magician to take the actions. All of these things are very, very important for the mystic, but it's also collaboration with others. So before we come to the end, I wanted to address what can be really challenging for mystics again, and this is one of the things that we do a lot more work on this in Amplify with the magical self, is recognizing that when you as a mystic go out and you see this beautiful vision and you go, no, this has got to happen in that way, and I've seen it, it can be very easy to then close your fist around it and never share it out into the world, because you think, well, if I tell someone else, they'll tell me it's wrong or silly, or they'll really like it and they'll want to get on board with it, and then they'll change it. It was my vision, it's mine. That is very natural. So there are a couple of pieces that you can look at here. One would be the committing to, when am I going to share my vision? It doesn't need to be straight away. I might have this beautiful vision that I'm tending and I'm thinking about, and saying to yourself, okay, the commitment that I want to make is when I'm going to share it and how I'm going to do that. If I'm going to say to somebody, I'm just looking for someone to share this with. But it might be that you say, actually, okay, I have felt into my vision long enough, and my seer has told me, and I trust that this is the right way, that I am holding a part of the puzzle here. And I'm holding a little part of the puzzle, and somebody else is going to come, and our puzzles have got to mesh together, and my vision might change. And I'm okay with that. My mystics received something, and then you almost have to invoke your mystic all over again to say, this journey of collaboration is a new adventure where my beautiful vision may well change, and I won't be in charge of it fully. It's a little bit of healer energy going on at this point. I'm not going to be in charge of it fully, but I'm going to trust that the next steps are ones that we take together. And it's very prevalent in our society to have a competition and championing of the individual. I was talking about the hero's journey. I was a little bit nervous about saying the hero's journey, just because hero suggests it's mine. There's one person who's contributing to that. And I think we all know that nothing great in the world has ever been achieved by one person alone. So this is really the activation journey of the mystic, is the activation of the mystic as collaborator. And so you can say, we've spoken about the sage in the past, the seer, the present, the mystic in the future, the magician gifted into the world. Where does the healer fit in with the mystic, please? So the healer is interesting, because the healer will sense that there's something wrong. So often the healer is the first activator for the mystic. They will say, this so like Greta Thunberg, that sense of there's something wrong, or there's something that could be different, there's a problem. The healer will say, here's the problem, and then the mystic will activate to go out into the world, and then the mystic will come back. And whereas the seer will say, I choose to do this, then the healer will receive the solution and say, yeah, that's feeling a bit better, but no, not quite. Because they are similar to the seer. They're connected to what's happening, but whereas the seer, I said with the seer that they receive inside, very connected to your personal purpose, your personal fate. The healer feels everything that's going on all around, everyone else's problems, everyone else's purposes, everyone else's fates. They're so important for that collaborative piece of sort of saying, okay, so who is it that I might need to collaborate with so that this system works better? So they often initiate or activate, I should say, they will activate the mystic if there's something that needs to be fixed or changed, and they will also be the sense checker of how does that come back in. But all of these I discuss in a lot more depth on Amplify. Please don't take these sessions as being the sort of full, complete. It wouldn't be possible to go into the depth that of our magic and all of these areas in a what we on 33-minute session at this point. So if you're interested in delving into these deeper, please do get in touch about coming on to Amplify if you want to look at how the 5 parts of the magical self work together. If you're interested in supporting one or learning a little bit more how they work together and the shadow of each side, then come on one of the retreats to have a little play. And if you feel like, yes, this is the path for me, then you can absolutely come on to Amplify and go deeper into that part. So for the rest of this week, we are going to be doing the Visioning with the Runes challenge. And what that will be doing is it will be like drilling down much more to look at very specific activities that we can do with our runes that will activate and support and enhance our relationship with the runes, seeing our runes as being tools that we can work with. They are gateways, so each of them is a gateway. It's a mystical gateway. So you've got 24 gateways to play with as your mystic self to journey through and journey back into. They are also guides. So if you get to the point where you're like, hey, I can't find a human guide, then you can work with your runes as guides. So we're going to be having a play with our mystic self and how the runes can support the mystic self through this. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Now, if you're interested, by the way, in the Mystic Self, the next Amplify retreat is on the 8th of October. So this is the Reclaim Your Magic Mystic Retreat. It's on the 8th of October. It's not open for bookings yet, but it will be very shortly. So yeah, 2 things that you can do. So come along to the challenge for the rest of the week. I will be putting up the first challenge. Bear with me one moment and I'll see if I've on my paper I can tell you which one it is. We are going to be looking at journeying out. Taking that journey out with a rune will be our first challenge, and that'll be posted later today. And then we're going to have 4 further challenges posted each day through this week. And then we will be having our lovely celebration again on Sunday for people who can come in person, which will be so lovely. I loved listening yesterday evening. It was wonderful. And for those of you who have missed the Readers Challenge, it's still up, so you can still go into the guide section in the Hearthspace and you can see all 5 challenges. So the prizes are no longer available because they have been awarded. Congratulations to our prize winners, but you can still do the challenges, and I believe that I'm going to be referencing a couple of those probably for this coming challenge and the next one. So if you haven't drawn a rune before, for example, and I say you're going to need to draw a rune, then obviously one of those challenges is supporting you in learning how to draw a rune. So I will cross-reference those when needs be. So those are still there for those of you who, like, for whatever reason, missed the Rune Readers Challenge. You can still go and have fun with that. Those will be up for a little while longer. If you're watching this video way into the future, if you happen to be on the YouTube channel and you're just diving in, then they won't be up forever in the Hearthspace, but they will be there for a while. So it looks as if we've come to the end of your questions. Thank you so much, everybody, for enjoying coming a bit. I hope you enjoyed it, for being with me. Suzanne, you said that feels like my mystic is connected with my moon rune, Isa. I'm having a moment. Oh, sometimes that happens, doesn't it? The birth runes are entire. They're like personal initiatory gateways that work with each of the runes. We'll need to do some sessions, I think, on runic astrology and birth runes. Perhaps a challenge will be brewing later in 2024. We shall see. So it has been lovely to see all of you. I hope that this has been a helpful introduction into the mystic self, into how it works with the other parts of the magical self, into thinking about how the different aspects of the mystic might work together. And you might be thinking, oh yeah, I know, how am I nurturing my dreamer? Or, when did I last have someone to support me as an initiator? Who are my spirit guides right now? And how connected am I to purpose? Are all different things that you can think about for your mystic. Lots of love to you all. I will see you very soon, and the challenge will be posted shortly.